Hello and welcome to Columbus State University's Oxbow Meadows, and welcome to Homecoming Week. We're very excited to participate in CSU's Homecoming this week, and we hope that you'll enjoy some of the other events coming up after our Oxbow Meadows live session. We're at Oxbow Meadows, and Oxbow Meadows is a really cool place if you've never visited here. We're at an environmental learning center in South Columbus off of South Lumpkin Road across from the Natural Infantry Museum. We do a number of education programs. Even in the times of COVID, we have lots of virtual programming that we're beginning to offer. We have a number of virtual programs we're offering to different schools, and we actually have free programs from Muskogee County's Title I classes. We also have a number of Oxbow adventures on our website. If you're a family at home that's looking for something fun to do that has an educational spin, we have lots of different options. We also have our live sessions from the summer from our Wildlife Wednesdays. They're all pre-recorded and they're on our YouTube page, so you can look back at the past at some of our animals. So here at our Environmental Learning Center, we have a number of animal ambassadors. What is an animal ambassador? An animal ambassador is someone that helps you care more about the animals that are in the wild. So we do have lots of animals, native and non-native, on exhibit here at Oxbow Meadows. And today we're going to explore some of them together. I do want to tell you a little bit more about some other things that we offer at Oxbow Meadows. We have some fall events coming up. You can stay tuned to our social media pages and our websites to learn more about our fall upcoming events. We also have our Adopt a Critter program. Adopt a Critter, you can actually adopt, not for real, they don't go home, but you can adopt some of our animals here at Oxbow and help us take care of them. We do have lots of animals here and they need to eat. They eat a lot of food, so we definitely could use your support, and we'd love for you to adopt an animal with us. We also have our native bees outside in our bee yards, and they produce honey for us. Every year they produce honey, and we harvest their honey here at Oxbow Meadows. So we also have some natural honey on sale on our website if you'd like to check that out. So we're gonna go ahead and get started with our animal ambassadors here at Oxbow Meadows. You can meet some of these animal ambassadors at a virtual field trip if you're a teacher or you know a teacher. Go ahead and let them know that we do have lots of options here at Oxbow Meadows. So since it is Homecoming Week, we're gonna talk a little bit about our best dressed here and talk a little bit through our animals using that theme of homecoming. So my first animal is a really special snake that we have here in Georgia. I'm wondering if you can think of a snake species that would fit the homecoming theme. In homecoming, there's usually a king and a queen. Well, we don't have a queen snake at Oxbow Meadows, but there are queen snakes out in the wild here in Georgia. They eat mostly toads. It's not very easy to feed toads at Oxbow Meadows. So we do have another snake that's very special called a king snake. So I'm going to get our king snake animal ambassador out for you to look closely and get to meet. I'll be right back with our king snake. So here I have our first animal ambassador. This is Speck. And Speck, he is named that. I'm wondering if you can figure out why. If you look at his pattern, or how he's dressed today, he has a speckled pattern all over his body there. That beautiful black and sort of a yellowish color. So not quite CSU colors, but his black and yellow speckles are how he gets his name. You can also see his belly has black and yellow too, but it's sort of a different pattern on his belly. So this speckled king snake is obviously speckled, so that's where he gets that first part of his name. Why would he be called a king snake? Well, we have banded king snakes in Georgia. We don't really have speckled king snakes, but king snakes are called king snakes because of what they eat. So king snakes actually eat other snakes. And this snake, he is not a venomous snake. He is a constricting snake. That means that this snake squeezes his food nice and tight to get his prey or the animals that he would like to eat. And one of the special diet items, or one of the special foods of a speckled king snake, are actually other snakes, even venomous snakes, like the 6 venomous snakes that we have here in Georgia. There are 3 different venomous snakes that are rattlesnakes. We have the diamondback, the timber. And we also have 3 other snakes that are venomous here in Georgia. We have the coral snake, the cottonmouth, and the copperhead. So this snake may eat some of those venomous snakes without it actually hurting this animal, the speckled king snake. So that's how they get that special name of a king snake, by eating those snakes that are indeed venomous. Again, this snake, Speck, is non-venomous. He is a constrictor. So here at Oxbow Meadows, we don't have venomous snakes for him to eat either, but they do eat a number of other rodents and other small animals. So our snakes here at Oxbow Meadows, including Speck and some of the snakes behind me on exhibit, they eat mostly rodents like mice and rats. So Speck is definitely best dressed, I think, out of our king snakes. We have 3 king snakes on exhibit here at Oxbow Meadows, mostly used for our education programs. And in my opinion, I think that Speck is the best dressed out of all of the king snakes, with that beautiful pattern on his scales. So since Speck is a snake, that means he's, of course, what kind of animal? I agree, Speck should be homecoming king. So Speck is a reptile. So that means he's covered in scales, and he's also something called cold-blooded, but that's a little bit funny of a word because snakes don't have like ice cube blood. You couldn't put Speck inside of your tea this morning and make it into iced tea, so cold-blooded is sort of a funny word. He's what you call ectothermic, or outside temperature. That means he gets his temperature from his surroundings, and as you can see, Speck is awfully active, wiggling and slithering around in my hands because my hands are nice and warm. So I'm giving him some heat and actually some energy this morning or this afternoon as he slithers around, and for you to vote him for homecoming king. So I'm going to put Speck back in his school bus so that he can go back to his exhibit where he lives here at Oxbow Meadows. And as I said, you can adopt even Speck, our king snake here today, in our Adopt a Critter program. So I'm going to put Speck back in his school bus, and we're going to meet another animal. So, if you agree with me that Speck is very beautiful or very handsome, and he should be our homecoming king, I think that I may have found our homecoming queen for Speck. So Speck is a native snake. That means that he does belong here in Georgia, so he does live here in Georgia naturally. This snake, however, is non-native. She does not belong here in Georgia, but as I said, we do have some native and non-native animals here at Oxbow Meadows as our animal ambassadors. So this beautiful girl is a Brazilian rainbow boa. So it's hard to tell with the lighting right now. I'll see if I can try to show you her iridescent scales. So when the light hits off of her scales, at the right angle, she actually has sort of a rainbow pattern. So my light's not really hitting off so that you can see her beautiful rainbow iridescence, but she does have this beautiful pattern on her back. Different pattern than Speck, but still, I think, worthy of being maybe homecoming queen. This is Heimdall, and Heimdall is visiting the camera right now. And she is actually a juvenile. So that means that Heimdall is not full grown. She will get even larger as she grows bigger and eats more mice and rats here at Oxbow Meadows. So she is not her full size. She will get a decent bit bigger than she is now. And as you can see, since we do have different sized snakes, they obviously eat different sized mice. If you've been here at Oxbow Meadows, you may have seen another one of our very special snakes. I think he might have contention for king with Speck, but his name is Gregor. So we do have a very, very, very large snake. He's a reticulated python, and he is about 11 feet long. So he didn't come out for our show today, but I think that he might be up in the runnings for king snake, maybe for next year, for homecoming king rather. But this year I think that Speck won, and I think that This girl here, Heimdall, our Brazilian rainbow boa, is quite beautiful herself, and I think that she deserves to be queen. So this snake eats much smaller mice than a snake like Speck. She eats mostly like pinky mice. You may also notice she's exploring. So this is one of our newer snakes. She hasn't been to very many education programs in the time of COVID, but you can see that she's exploring. She's very curious of her surroundings, and she's actually looking around, and she's also using something else to sense her surroundings. What else is she using to sense her new environment? Well, if you see that tongue kind of waving around, she is using her tongue and an organ in the top of her mouth called a Jacobson's organ to explore her surroundings. So she's smelling our exhibit hall, an area outside of her normal exhibit, and she's sensing her new surroundings with her eyes, and even with that tongue. She kind of sticks out her tongue, and it's forked, so it means that it kind of looks like this, it's split, and that would tell her where she's sensing something, if she could go this way, or if she should go this way. So she would want to go towards something like a prey item or some food, and of course, if there was a bigger snake like Speck or another bigger snake, or an animal that might want to eat her, a predator, she would probably want to slither away in the opposite direction. So that tongue helps her sense danger and food. So I'm going to put our queen away for now. I think that Heimdall probably won for the female, and I think that Speck probably won for the male. So I'll stretch her out one time so you can see her length. She's probably going to get, I would say, about 3 or 4 times this size. So rainbow boas usually grow about 4 to 5 feet, a little bit longer than a ball python if you're familiar with a ball python, but not super long like some of our other snakes. So she would probably be about the same length as a king snake, maybe a little bit longer, depending on how big she grows and how much food that she eats. So she will be a little bit bigger than a ball python, but not nearly as big as a reticulated python like Gregor. So I'm going to go ahead and put Heimdall away, and we're going to actually check out a mascot here at Oxbow Meadows. So now we've met our king, Speck, the speckled king snake at Oxbow, and we've also met our queen of Oxbow, the rainbow boa, Heimdall. Well, at a homecoming, you also need a mascot. So I do know that we have a mammal, or a cougar, as the mascot of Columbus State University, but here at Oxbow Meadows, we don't really have any mammals. So at Oxbow Meadows, we have reptiles, we have amphibian, and we also have fish. So of those animals, we actually have a really special animal here at Oxbow Meadows that lives in Georgia that is sort of like our mascot. So I'm going to bring out our mascot so you can see who it is. So our mascot is feeling a little shy, but this is one of our mascots here at Oxbow Meadows here in Georgia. Does anyone know what this animal is? Obviously, he's not a snake. So this animal should give himself away with his covering. He has a shell, and that means that this animal is a turtle. A turtle is also a reptile, but they are very different than snakes. So this is a special turtle that lives here in Georgia. They're called a gopher tortoise. So this gopher tortoise is full grown, so he is an adult. I'll show you his size. And his name is Shelby. The reason his name is Shelby, as you can see, he has a little nick in his shell. So again, just like our other animals that we met, gopher tortoises are one of those really cool animals that you can adopt here at Oxbow Meadows. Gopher tortoises are really, really special. And the reason that they're special, does anyone know? So mascots sort of represent, or they're sort of the image of something or somewhere. So the reason that the gopher tortoise is the image of Oxbow Meadows is because they are ecosystem engineers. What does an engineer do? Well, an engineer usually builds things. So the gopher tortoise engineers or builds really, really long, deep tunnels or burrows. So a gopher tortoise can dig like a 30-foot long burrow. Can you think of any other animals that live in burrows? The gopher tortoise actually digs or makes homes for lots more animals here in Georgia. Animals like the gopher frog, and animals even like another threatened animal, the indigo snake. So we do have an indigo snake here at Oxbow Meadows as well, also in the Adopt a Critter program. So you can see that really strong arm of the gopher tortoise, of Shelby. He has really strong front feet or front limbs that help him dig in the dirt with those nails. And as you see, his back foot kind of looks like another animal's foot. His foot, sorry, let me get my finger under there. His foot actually looks like an elephant's foot. So they're sometimes called elephantine back limbs or back feet. So whenever Shelby gets a little shy, like when I first brought him out, he can actually go inside of his shell and he can put his arms in front of his face, sort of like he just did. I scared him a little bit. So he can actually hide inside of his shell to protect himself. And they can go deep in those burrows. I did have to wake up Shelby today and go outside to one of his burrows. So our grounds at Oxbow Meadows, meaning our outside exhibits like our American alligators and our gopher tortoises, are actually open from Monday to Friday. They're open from 10 to 3 p.m. So you can come check out our gopher tortoises and our American alligators outside from Monday to Friday. So I'm gonna go ahead and put our mascot back in his school bus so he can go back outside in his exhibit in his burrow. And we'll meet one more really special animal today. So let me put him back in the school bus. All right, so my last animal friend is also a juvenile. So this animal is also a baby. And this animal is another very special animal here at Oxbow Meadows and here in Georgia. So what animal do I have here for you to meet? Well, it's not a snake. It's not a turtle. It's not a lizard, even though she looks a little bit like she could be related to a lizard, but she is an American alligator. If you listen very closely, I'm not sure if you can hear over our water pumps here at Oxbow, but she's actually making a cute little noise, a little grunt. That little noise is actually how she communicates to her mother. So this American alligator is a little less than 2 years old, and alligators will actually stay with their mother for between 1 year and 2 years. So they'll stay with their mother quite a long time in compared to other reptiles. Usually, not all, but most reptiles will lay eggs and then kind of leave their babies and they're on their own. So an alligator is actually a very good mom. They will take care of their babies for up to 2 years of their life. So that little noise that this alligator is making is telling the mother, hey, there might be danger. I don't know this stranger, please come get me. So it's sort of like stranger danger. So this is one of our 2 ambassador juvenile alligators. She does live here at Oxbow Meadows, so we act as the alligator mommy. We feed her and keep her protected. But this alligator is still a juvenile or is still a baby, so she does still have lots of growing to do. I'll show you how big she is. She's only about a foot and a half long. We do have some more American alligators outside on exhibit that you can visit, again on those grounds Monday through Friday. On our outside exhibits are open from Monday to Friday. We also have exhibits that are open inside on Fridays through timed tickets. So you do have to reserve tickets to come in our building, but we're very happy to see visitors and to be open again. Please come check us out on a Friday. You can find the timed tickets on our website. But you can see our outside alligators Monday through Friday, and we have 6 of them. They're a little bit bigger than this alligator here, but they are also juveniles. We do train our alligators outside, as you've seen in other Facebook Lives if you've been watching us for a little while. We do train them to go to different stations, so they each know their own color or their own spot to get fed. And they also know when they can eat, so they are also target trained and clicker trained. So you actually can train an alligator, believe it or not. They're very smart. You can also adopt our alligators like Bam Bam here and her sister Pebbles are our two juvenile alligators. So what do you think this alligator eats here at Oxbow Meadows? Most of our animals eat us out of house and home, but this animal eats mostly mice and rats. She'll get some shrimp from time to time, and every once in a while for a little treat or some enrichment, something to give them some chase or something that they can actually get their bodies or their minds active, are some crickets. So sometimes we'll give them crickets to chase around in their water. But this animal is a carnivore, just like the snakes that we met, only eat meat. The gopher tortoise, we didn't really talk about that. He only likes to eat plants, so he doesn't like to eat any mice. But our American alligator, making her cute noise, calling for her alligator mama, also has a very beautiful pattern. So we can actually tell the individual alligators apart that we have here at Oxbow Meadows by looking at their banding or those different lines or stripes down their back and on their arms. They have different patterns for each individual. Are there any questions about this really cool animal that I have representing Oxbow Meadows today? Sort of our second mascot. You can see those really cool teeth. And their teeth fall out and regrow over their entire lifetime. Can you imagine going to the alligator dentist? All right, so I'm going to put Bam Bam back in her school bus so that she can go back in her exhibit. And I'm going to introduce you a little bit to the rest of our exhibit hall and to some of our Oxbow Meadows staff. She's making very cute noises as I put her back in her school bus. So I'm Ashley, and I'm our environmental educator here at Oxbow Meadows, so I love to teach kids about animals and share my passion with some other folks doing the same thing. Over here I have Miss Tori. Miss Tori is our media expert, so she does all of our social media. If you see some really cool posts and quizzes, this is our girl here doing our social media expert. We also have Miss Lauren. Miss Lauren is right over here, and she is our program manager. There's a nice wave from Miss Lauren in the back. She takes care of all of our bookings. So if you are a school teacher or you know one, please have them reach out to Miss Lauren. We'd love to see your group and your class here at Oxbow Meadows. If you're a CSU student and you'd love your professor to bring you out here, you can have them reach out to us as well. We teach all ages, and we of course have our animal expert. She's around in the back taking care of our animals. I can't introduce you to her today, but Miss Selena is our animal keeper, and we're so excited to have her on staff with all of our amazing animals here at Oxbow Meadows. So again, we have honey on sale if you'd like some natural honey that was actually made by our honeybees here on our grounds. We're open from Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on our outside exhibits, and we also are open inside finally on Fridays through timed tickets. We have 2 different time sessions that you can join us on Fridays. You will need a ticket to reserve a spot, and we also have some upcoming fall events. We'll be following CSU's guidelines on social distancing, but we would love to see you for some of our really exciting fall options coming up. Check out our website and our social media to learn more. Have a great homecoming, and thanks for joining us here at Oxbow Meadows.